And we here, this is a special one right here. I was on Lipstick Podcast, and there was a guy on there by the name of He Say, the Harris family on YouTube. And, you know, he posed something that made me think that when he went to go get a health screening, and was talking with his doctor, he didn't know his side of the family, as far as his dad and that side medical history. So, it was important for him to, learn things as he go along and be active in his kid's life to where, he can start that generational cycle of anything going on in the family tree, be passed down to generation, teaching his kids, preferably his boys, that, be in their be in their kids' life and give them an understanding, because even to the degree of him having a discussion with his kids about his father, he really couldn't say too much to him about, his own father. They learned something about their granddad on mom's side and learned something about grandma, but to the extent, you know, from his side, his father, it was very little known. And, you know, I'm stepping away from the money. It's still there, but I just wanted to, deal with this right here, because we have a to the degree of a lot of baby daddies, we can say to somewhat, you know, in my opinion, just a few guys, you know, there's some couple of divorces, there are some couple of separations, you know, there's some multi kids, but in the end, you know, fathers are important, and for you to have a child, knowing that they never asked to come in the world, the least thing you can do is to take care of that child and to be mindful of, that child. When you're going into relationships, you know, um, I talk about this a lot, having knowledge of self, you know, understanding what you're doing, understanding the situation that you're in with family. You know, if I'm gonna be with this woman, we end up having kids together, I'm gonna have to be there for that child. When she shuts me off, for the most part, if it's nothing I can do, it's just nothing I can do. But I'm to the extent trying my best to do everything for my child what's in the best interest. She moved to another state, I can always call her. If I can't call, I can, try to set something with the court so where I can do scheduled visits, go pick them up, get them for a weekend or something, and then, fly back home. You're going to have to put in a little more work if a woman's moved out of town. I have to put in, a little money to go reach out for that child, you know. And most guys get to the understanding, well, it's hard if I can't see my child, this and that. I mean, just letting your child know that, you didn't give up the fight is one of the big things that most kids, kind of, when they get to a level of understanding that, you was always there, even though you wasn't. You know, the Ayana Fix My Life episode, the man was accused of, dealing with his daughters. And when the lie detector came out that she was lying, she said that, You didn't fight hard enough. There was nothing more he could do. You can't take back that kind of, thing to where you say, like, nah, I'm just playing, or to an extent, like, yeah, you did it. Everybody else believed the woman, so there was nothing more he could do. He just had to sit there and hopefully that the daughters forgive whatever the mom said he did, or they kind of keep a relationship. You know, I guess they say forgive in the past, but to an extent, even the daughters said that they don't even remember. But the whole point of being was forced to them. Hold on one moment. Man, got a call. Yeah, sorry about that. Got a call. But yeah, and when it comes down to it, it's like as men, you know, we already to a degree have it hard socially. If you're not, if pretty much, let's say if you're socially awkward, you don't kind of deal with women to a degree in a certain light, it's kind of hard for you to make friends in that circles and stuff like that. Then approaching women is even harder for you. And developing a family is one thing, but to get with someone and ultimately have a child and have that child being snatched from you, and then you wanting that family network and trying to do it the right way, but you having stumble blocks, to a degree. Most people just don't, have pregnancy, have kids out of wedlock. That's not a necessary, oh, I want to do this. Let's make a baby, and whatever happens, happens. Yeah. Both people are not agreeing to that. It's one party agreeing and the other party is in the dark about it. And to the extent if both parties agree, they know pretty much the consequences behind that. If the woman gets pregnant and the guy has to help her take care of the baby, do this for the baby, do because you both agree. But to a man that has a child and pretty much you want a child, I know for an understanding from a lot of men I talk to, it hurts for them not to see their kids, especially when most men to a degree when they actually see that child for the first time, you know that's something special for them, and for them, not to be able to see that child. I mean, literally crazy. I mean, I once was listening to a podcast and the guy, say, he paid child support, everything. Went to go see his kid, baby mom wouldn't let him. And him and the child, the boy, was literally banging on the door to each other crying. And that's how much passion, I mean, just yearning to see his child. That he's literally crying on the other side of the door. The boy is crying on the other side. They both sitting on the floor, banging on the door, crying with each other. You know, and to get your child just stripped from you is almost going to like a jail sentence. You know, you don't plan on doing no time. It's just you know when it happens, you got to deal with it. And that's another big thing. A lot of us lost our fathers to the system. Back in the day, it was real easy to get thrown up under the bus if for simple crimes. I mean, easy for simple crimes. So a lot of us, just having respect and thinking about, our kids before we do things, you know, because to a degree, some men have had their fathers in their life, and they thankful for it. But the ones who did have fathers in their life and they kind of neglected it, now being a adult, some of us who are fathers, now you understand all the stuff that your dad was doing. Now you understand that I should have been more this, I should have been more that. And that's the crazy part that we look at as men, being in someone else's shoes, man. That's a hard pill to swallow. I've seen men who wanted to see their kids paid child support, did everything right, but to a degree got done wrong. You know, I mean, I was talking with someone yesterday, and I'm like, men, we all need to get together and start promoting equal rights. You know, towards the women, they push this whole equal rights, equal opportunity. Why can't we? Because the court system is unfair to us, to an advantage for our kids. You know, the courts, they can say, well, you can't keep that child from the father like that. You gotta make sure he's able to see his dad. That lady, she's not gonna uphold that because she's not scared of going to jail. In all honesty, to a degree, the judge are not throwing these women in jail for this. And this is something simple. It's not even just bashing women. It's something simple as you letting your child see their father, so you won't have to go spend, at minimum 2 days and 3 days. I would say 3 to 5 days in jail. That's a good enough time to where you won't lose your job, and you think about your actions. You rather lose your job versus letting this man see this child for 1 to 2 hours. You know, and when the women, have an issue with men because they've moved on and had another wife they trying to entertain, and the women get hurt. you know she took my life. Oh, you opted out of this life. you know and it comes down to it, to the degree there's a lot of men and women with behavior issues. It's on both ends. you know I was on the art panel last night, and we was talking about this in the community back in the day, having Sunday dinner, being with family. That's all we had. We loved one another. We was there for one another. And then the culture got flipped upside down because we started integrating selfishness. I don't want nobody to stay with me. You know, back in the day, even with me, when my twins, when they were young, my wife's great grandma, because that's her great grandma, watched my kids. My grandmother, which is their grandma. No, I'm sorry. My wife's great grandmother watched my kids, and my grandma, which is their great grandma, watched them. You know, the generation, like, no issue. There was no, I need money to watch the grandkids. To the degree my play aunt, she used to bring my little play cousins over there to my grandma's house. And the only thing she would tell her is bring Pampers and wipes because I ain't got no babies. Other than that, it was, nothing for her to bring them over there. Like, we lost that whole family structure to where if somebody's going through hard times, they can come stay with you and get on their feet. Because people take advantage of that now. It's neglected, and it's sad that we have to go through this within the culture, you know. And, to the degree, like I was saying earlier, that's why men need to be more focused with their kids, be more focused in their family and their kids' life. You know, you don't want to keep this cycle of the mistakes being made. And to the degree, every generation, nobody's getting it right. You know, I don't see the need to break my family, you know. So it's not like I'm trying to be on my best behavior, but I'm doing everything, what's in the best interest of my kids and me. I still apply those 9 laws to where I respectfully, think about myself and applying selfishness. But I have that consideration when I apply selfishness of people around me too, because it's the best interest for them. It's also within the best interest for me, you know. And to the degree I know a little about my dad, but my kids are gonna know about me, my medical history. I can sit down and talk to my grandkids. To the degree my kids get older and they stumble, might fall, might get a baby mama, something like that. That child's gonna still know, granddad. I got a situation now. I got to talk to a young lady about my cousin. My cousin got in trouble. Did some things, and had to go take a vacation. But the point of it is, his son's still gonna know his other side of the family. You know, and all the time I pretty much hollered my aunt and little cousin's boy. I be messing with him. He two now. He don't really talk, but to the degree he understand and he looks around, and I buy him little toys and stuff. Just bought him some toys when I seen him the other day. I was with him, and you know just for him to have an understanding that this is your side of the family over here, and just because your dad's not around, that don't mean you can't come around us. you know. And when your dad get together, he gonna still be over here because I'm gonna make sure of that, you know, and holding each other accountable. You know, if you're not taking care of your child, what's the use of you being around me? I don't want that stigma on me that I associate with people that just don't want to do right. You know, you had this child, take care of the child. You know, we all as men gotta hold each other accountable, just like the women. That's why I say I step away from the gender topics, because at the end of the day, as men, we need to get ourselves together, be in the right element, right environment to work with men, not males. Shout out to Gold Professor, that's divine. Give the definition, the difference between men and males. You know, we need to be there to help one another. And to the degree, like I say about the women, the women hold each other accountable, you know, because my thing is, if someone wants to change, they're going to change regardless, whether you have whether you have that impact on their life or someone else. There's so many people that were on drugs, to the degree they literally stopped smoking drugs because something they seen on TV, or just something just snapped on. I was talking to this guy, when I did my transportation business. This guy was in um he told me he had literally full blown, I mean, he had got AIDS, you know, and he wanted to become a pastor. And he said, to the degree, he was smoking drugs one night, and an infomercial came on, you know, and then right after that there was those evangelist shows popped up. And when the evangelist show popped up, the guy was like, man, I'm out there, a whole, slab of coke on the table. I'm chopping it up. He said, I just had all my little party favors over, my weed, everything, my alcohol to the side. And he said something just kicked him in the gear when the guy said something. When he was about to hit that line, the guy said something on that evangelist network, and he looked at the TV and just started crying. Took all the drugs, threw it in the trash. He said once he took the bag out and threw it away, like the next couple hours, he was feeding for those drugs and he was going crazy. And he was like, I knew I shouldn't have done that, man. I could have sold the drugs and did this, but he was like, he felt like going back and getting the drugs, but the whole biggest thing was for him to, kind of get through that. And that's what changed his life. To a degree, there are men that out here want to have fun and, play the game. But that's the thing. When you play the game, you can't get mad at the outcome. Same thing with a lot of women, I say. Whoever play the game, you can't get mad at the outcome, you know? And, that's why I always talk about knowledge itself, because it's not just for men, it's for women as well. You know, they have this saying, if you knew what you was worth, you'll ask for more. Not to be stuck up and selfish or anything. It's just, you're not gonna take less. You deserve better. I mean, to a degree, there are a lot of women that shouldn't be baby mamas. They deserve to be married. But the point, what you put yourself in, that's reflected on you. Same thing with men. You know, you don't want to be a baby daddy, but to a degree, you put yourself in a situation is reflecting on you, you know. But when it comes down to men, that's what I say, you want to break the cycle. You know, this guy Crypto Madison, I watch, and he always talk about breaking the generational curse of his family not having money. So he's into crypto, he's into the stock market, he's into anything that deals with money. And that's why I big up Alonzo all the time. I'm always doing videos talking about Alonzo Hall, the All-Star advisor, telling people to go over this channel, get those gems. You know, the website, CG Wealth Solution, talks about, you know, you investing in yourself. That's the biggest thing. Nobody's investing in themselves, through life insurance. There's multiple ways, getting started with 401ks, IRAs, you know, helping yourself, because basically generational wealth is great when you have knowledge. Money doesn't actually help with generational wealth. You can give someone all the money in the world, but if they literally don't know what to do with it, once again, it's a shock to the system. I keep saying this to people. When people hit the lottery, it's a shock to the system. They never had this type of money. With rappers, basketball players, what's the first thing all those basketball players do? Go out there stunting, getting cars, houses, and everything. To the degree, when they get older, they're broke. They've lived high on the hog so long, had so many people in their pocket, had side deals and putting money in and this and not even checking their accounts, the basics, and get played in the end to where they're barely making it. If you're not a star player, you're a bench rider, you're literally going to be broke coming out of the NBA. Take that money and invest in stuff. Rappers, a lot of rappers are doing this, investing. They're starting to see that, I can't rap forever. You know, that's like the motivation that people should be investing in themselves. Alonzo say you get a health review every year to go do a checkup. You get a review on your insurance to make sure you're getting more bang for your buck. We about to do a life insurance review. I had my policies for a minute now. So doing a review on those, I actually found out I had less money in one of my accounts than I actually thought I had. So that means I'm looking at, getting another policy. I'm already said the older I get, I'm getting another term anyway, just on the muscle. Cause I know that's gonna bring me a good amount of money right there, just big enough for the kids to just throw that in there and let it cook. But for the most part, man, my whole life, making sure I'm putting enough in there to where I can get a return to where I can be the bank and pull money out to where, emergencies and stuff like that, I'm good, you know, and looking at different outcomes, from anything that I deal with, stock, crypto, you know, passive income, Pierre, we talk about credit on Real Deal all the time, man. Getting those trade lines together, you know, making sure your credit score is up to point. These are the things that we weren't taught. And, just because we wasn't taught this stuff don't mean we can't learn it. And that's the biggest thing that I be trying to get people to understand. Just because you wasn't taught this, you can blame your parents all day, you can blame your aunties and everybody else. They don't know. They only know the bare minimum. But to the degree, just because you don't know, that don't mean you can't go seek the knowledge. Everybody has a laptop in their pocket. Literally a laptop in your pocket. Majority of everything you do on a laptop, you can just about do on your phone now. So there's no excuse. YouTube, everybody's on YouTube. It's literally no excuse. Everybody's on YouTube. Why are you not looking at a couple of finance videos? Why are you not looking at, a couple of passive incomes? JT Hustle. This guy talks about multiple business, streams. I'm looking at one of these videos he was talking about to where someone does a carrier business and they make 1,200, easily a week, you know. And another carrier business, they said that if you doing it yourself out of your car, making a minimum 300 a day. I'm like, man, I'm about to reach out to them. I might change change up and go over there, see what they talking about. Talk about house hacking and stuff. You know, Airbnb, talking about that. Rent out rooms and stuff. I was just talking to a guy. He talked with Airbnb, and they told him if he fixes up one of his he actually has a family room that's separate from the house, that has a door and walks into a family room and has a bathroom over there, has a big old living space to the point where he can put a small kitchenette on the side like a studio deal. And literally Airbnb told him if he was to do that with the own entry to go in and out, don't even have to go through the house, at minimum $20,000 a year. Minimum. And I'm like, dang, you know, that's the conversation we need to be having with each other about learning, how to make money. Because entertaining is cool, man. I come on, I laugh, I come on the panels, listen to people talk, sometimes I laugh and joke about people who struggle bond and stuff, here trying to talk crap about each other, talk crap about, the difference in the gender war. But in the end, they're not lying. Men and women need to get it together. We need to start back building families, you know. But the thing is, just like the women don't want to be forced to do things, what do you think the men want? You think the man want to be forced to pay for everything and don't get nothing out of it? We have so many back and forth with these videos. Nobody wants to come to a compromise. So what do you think is always going to happen? It's always continue to be a stalemate. You know, I always say this. When it comes down to the families, divorce is good business. Two parents, separate households. Somebody got to pay for that other house. Y'all not together no more. Two cars, two Christmas for the kids. You know, you got to buy gifts at your house. They got to buy gifts over there, and you're competing for your child's love through these gifts. So you're gonna spend more money than the other one. In return, what's gonna happen? Hey, the economy, they're gonna be doing good, but in the community, you're gonna be struggling. You know, yeah, I got my son a motorcycle. Hey, ain't none of these kids over here got motorcycles. Or I got my son the new PlayStation 5. Man, I went through everything. Man, I ended up getting a PlayStation 5 for $1,200. The game is like 400, 500. Why are you spending that much money? You know, because you gotta one up your wife, or the wife gotta one up the dad. I mean the mom and dad. They gotta one up each other. Hey, I'm telling you, division is big business, man. You know, a lot of people don't want to sit down and work anything out. And like I was going back to earlier, man. Having that structure, you have your child, whether you in the house or not, be a part of that child's life. Do within your reach to be in that child's life. If you have a crazy baby mama you're dealing with, as men, you got to set the stage. You know, whether you deal with them through the courts or you handle it to a degree to where you know you make it worth in the interest. Don't do anything for the child but child support. No extra money for this, no extra money for that. Don't talk to her, none of that. That's gonna fade out in a minute. I mean, that's a bad thing to do. But to the degree, if that's the only way you can get her to let you see that child and understand that you're serious about your child, then so be it. You know, when it comes down to it, a lot of people, man, we gotta have that discussion, man. We gotta have the discussion, you know, as men. That's why I keep going back to knowledge of self. So what you're doing impacts your kids, and I keep saying this. The knowledge of self also it works for men and women. If you know what you want out of life, you're going to tend to have a better outcome. If you're just out here dating, just having fun, that's what you're going to get. Whatever. You know, you have a child, it's whatever. You know, um, you're not doing nothing for yourself. You're literally in a situation where you're dependent on someone else. It's whatever. That's why I keep saying knowledge of self. You got to sit here and develop. Okay, I want money. I want to have a good relationship. Go on dates. To the process, nobody, when you're going on dates, and I'm going to say this to men, the women might don't like this. Don't be going on all those expensive dates with these women. Because when you leave with your wallet, that's what you're going to be doing for the rest of the remainder of the relationship and in the marriage. You know, and to the degree, they say that like that in jail. Once you get punked, everybody always going to see you as a punk. So in a relationship, man or woman, when you get tested and you fail the test, that's what you're going to be perceived at every single time. You're going to be perceived with that every single time with the intent that you scary, you'll do anything I say, and that's what they're going to look at you as. Men test women all the time, and women test men all the time to see their boundaries, what they can and can't get away with, who they can and can't do stuff to. To the degree, I mean, that's childish. If you're trying to be with this person, testing boundaries, you know, to a degree, you might don't like that outcome. And you might end up mess up a good relationship just because you want to play games. So, like I keep saying, have an understanding of knowledge of self. If I go with my wife, grab her hand, and we go into a burning building, I have no sense of direction. And she goes with me, we both burn. If that woman pulls back and no, you supposed to be under my leadership, you supposed to go with me. No, because you don't have knowledge of self. Why is she gonna walk with you in a burning building? She just gonna let you die by yourself. Because if you don't want to listen to her and say let's go a different way, then so be it. Same thing for that woman. If she grabs the man's hand and bring him into a burning building, she don't have no sense of direction. That's the whole thing when I talk about knowledge of self, having a direction, understanding what you want to do and how you want to move in life. You know, and like I said, I'm not even really talking really high value when I tell people that, financially you have to get yourself together, you know, having money for yourself, you know, being able to have your car, everything together, having a car situation together. If something happens, you got to be able to drive back and forth to work. You got to be able to move around with the kids. You have to, even not for kids or for a woman, for yourself. You got to be able to move if something happens. And that's the issue that we're having as men. We're depending on other people versus setting the stage and tone for ourselves. You know, so we have to start moving in a manner in which, like as men, we say, "Oh, my grown man ish," you know, and that's what it is. You gotta be grown about it. You got some things that you need to handle and get done, and it needs to be handled correctly. If you don't know the proper way of doing it, go seek counsel. You know, that's why I always talk about the wise old men and stuff like that. We always have these, issues with the younger generation going at the older men. But the crazy part is they the ones that done it right or done it wrong. You need to learn from them. You can even learn from a crackhead. He's out there on the street. You can learn from a crackhead. He's out on the street. He's done this. He's done that. So he knows. You know, I said this once before. You know, my dad or so somebody can tell me about drugs, but if they never smoked it and never dealt it, only thing they can know is from what they see and what they heard, whether it's true or false. For a person that actually smoked it or dealt it, they know the ins and out more than my father. So they'll be like, man, drugs is this, drugs, like I experienced it, I smoked, this is how I felt. I sold drugs. This is the way people act when I sold it. This is the thing that I got high on it because I touched it, to the degree people say when you touch crack, it absorbs in your hands and stuff. So me having an understanding on all spectrums to where when somebody gives me that understanding, I know what's going on now. You know, that knowledge, giving me a leg up to say, okay, I know about this. I don't need to go this route. Okay, I'm learning about life insurance. I need to do better with this. I'm learning about savings, passive income. I need to do better with this. I mean, you literally can look there. There's multiple, like most of the people that's on YouTube that's buying mics and stuff now. They have you can look it up on YouTube. They have videos. I told my wife because prefer I don't want to do it, voiceovers and stuff, but just reading books. You can literally read books for people. Most people they want audio books, but they don't have time to read the books. You can go and do auditions for that and just do an audio book. You can make money with these mics that you bought. You know, for people who have cell phones, they have surveys that you take, and they're like 30-minute, 45-minute surveys, and they're literally paying 25, $50, some of them $75 to take these surveys. When you always hear, we surveyed 75 people, we surveyed 100 people, like Family Feud, stuff like that. Most of these things are coming from surveys which people do online, or to the degree, doing malls and stuff like that, or people meet up door to door. That's what a lot of the surveys are. When they say they surveyed so many people, they took the majority and just ran the numbers. Okay, these many people like this, these many people do this. But I'm about to get ready to jump off of here because the old professor's about to go on. I try to go over there and get my morning. And by today being Wednesday read, you know, old professor has his thing set up to where he reads on Wednesday. to kind of dispel the myth about black people being not able to, pick up a book. And the whole thing, back in the day, they say if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in a book. So I'm actually gonna go over there and shout out the Gold Professor and get some Wednesday read. You know, he been having some good ones. Did the autobiography of Malcolm. I like that. Listening to the audio of it, man, and you know the narrating of the story, like it actually there. Back in the day, like they used to do with the radio. No TV. You had to imagine. People are losing touch right now, reality, because the imagination is gone. But like I say, man, I'm about to go over here to Gold Professor channel and get me some Wednesday read in my life, and have my wind down. But like I say, till next time. Man, I miss Frugal Mama, this wellness with Frugal Mama this morning. Gotta go back over there and listen to my meditation and workout. But till next time, like I always say, we here and we gone. And like I'm gonna make one more statement. As men, like I keep saying, you know, have an understanding, man, about yourself. Know what you want to do. Know how you want to do it. And you got to move accordingly. Plain and simple. And till next time, we here and we gone.